I was curating my first art exhibition, Kinetic Objects. And that's where I saw him. He was standing right over there, about 9 years old, messy brown hair, and he was mesmerized by the movement and the workings of this specific kinetic object. Now, it was a crazy day at the museum. There were lots of kids, frenetic activity, moving around, and a lot of the kids were just looking at this object and then moving on. This child was transfixed. He didn't move. And it was literally 10 or 15 minutes later that one of his parents had to drag him away to see the next art object. I found out later that this child was autistic. And this is what he was watching. This kinetic art object is called the STEAM Spiral. And go figure, it's run by STEAM. And the functional art form is called steampunk. Now, this boy made me wonder, was there more to steampunk than just cool kinetic objects, or did it go much deeper? Well, if you don't know what steampunk is, let me offer this simple math formula to you. SP equals H plus A plus T. Simple, right? Let me translate that for you. Steampunk equals history plus art plus technology. Now, steampunk started out as a subgenre of science fiction. But to me, it's a big what if. What if during the Victorian period or the industrial age, they had our modern technology? So you have these crazy steampunkers like me wanting to do these integrations of art and science. Here is an example of actually integrating a modern home theater system into a gorgeous Victorian fireplace mantle. Or repurposing a 19th century bandsaw into a modern computer workstation and conference table. This was some years ago, but if you saw Will Smith's movie Wild Wild West, didn't have a great storyline to it, but it had a great aesthetic, so you kind of have the look and feel of what steampunk is. And I wanted to show you one of my early examples of steampunk art and design. This actually started out as a simple coat rack, believe it or not, and I just added lots of Victorian gauges and hardware and bits and pieces, sort of like a steampunk assemblage. And when I was much younger, I had a hard time sitting still, or even standing still. You're probably getting a sense of that as I pace back and forth on this stage. And my mother would tell me that I had the Spilkies. And if you don't know that term, the more technical term is ants in the pants. But the important thing is that when I was working on this assemblage, it's as time stood still for me. I was completely focused, like that autistic boy that saw the steam spiral. So again, it made me wonder, did steampunk affect the brain in some unique way? So it put me on a quest. So I want you to meet Dr. Ashley Hillier. She's an associate psychology professor at the University of Massachusetts in Lowell. And Dr. Hillier actually creates art therapy programs for kids on the autism spectrum. And Dr. Hillier would tell me that in general, autistic kids excel in the sciences. They love technology. They love art. They love to see how things work. So we were so excited about the connections between autism and steampunk, we decided that we were going to create a 9-week program of steampunk as art therapy for kids with autism. And we called it Steampunk Kinetics, Building Art into Science. And really the idea here was that we wanted the kids to work with their hands. We wanted them to be hands-on and to build a steampunk kinetic machine. Because we thought by doing this, we would help to grow their social skills, reduce their anxiety, and also help them be better creative problem solvers. And so we wanted to involve them in this project, and this is what we had them build. We call it the Steampunk Tower House. And each box represented basically the room in the house. And what the kids had to do is to work in teams, and each child in each team would take on a certain task. So one loved the idea of engineering the ball in track. Another child would work on the art and the design of the box, and another would work on the lighting and electronics. Well, the magic came in, really, was when each team had to work with the other team to make sure that the ball would start from the top, room or box, and then go all the way to the bottom, and then return back up again. So when we started this, we had no idea where it was going. We found that steampunk is not just great for autistic brains, but it is great for all of our brains. Because it's creative problem solving. And this creative problem solving is called Januszian thinking. Januszian thinking is derived from the Roman god Janus, as pictured here, having two heads or two faces going in opposite directions. So while you're in the present, you're looking into the future, but simultaneously looking into the past. Or this might be the future, and this might be the past, and I'll leave it up to you guys. And Januszian thinking, or divergent thinking, was developed by a researcher, Albert Rothenberg, in the 70s. And it is a simple but sophisticated and powerful way to creatively problem solve. And he found that the best problem solvers, innovators, inventors, were Januszian thinkers. They intuitively thought in opposites. And you know what? Steampunk is all about the opposites. Let me give you a few examples here. In steampunk, what are we doing? We're combining and synthesizing opposites of past and present, form and function, art and science, and even human or nature and machine. And I want to show you this example. This one is dear to my heart. It's actually my own computer workstation. So what I was able to do here is to take a modern, state-of-the-art computer workstation and integrate it into this piece of Victorian, it used to be a Victorian pump organ with all the bells and whistles. And you also see there an antique Brownie camera that we're actually able to insert a high-res webcam. The people that we admire most, people like Da Vinci, Edison, Tesla, they were Januszian thinkers. Thinking in opposites is really the essence of our human greatness, our ingenuity, and really our ultimate key to survival. And I think perhaps that there are a lot of people attracted to steampunk because you want the world to work. You want opposites to come together and work. Because it's a method that gets you through the madness. And I've had to deal with a lot of madness, as I'm sure you have. But I really feel, I truly believe that my work in steampunk and Januszian thinking has helped me build a more creative and resilient mind. I even believe that this type of thinking has helped me get through multiple job losses, a financial disaster, and even a bout with cancer. And I'm not the only one who feels this way. Others have been impacted. And I want to share this with you. We got feedback from one of the parents of the autistic child that was in our Steampunk Kinetics class. And this mother said this to me. Andrew's mother, when she told me this, had tears in her eyes. And I'll never forget it. It was one of those rare moments where, in some small way, you feel like you've made impact. And it's not just with this child. It was with his whole family. We were giving them the tools, the language, to connect with each other and with the world. I found my mission, I found my passion, and I found my repurpose. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to push steampunk into the classroom through STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Of course, being a steampunker, what do I want to do? Want to add the art, right? The A for art, make it STEAM, but ultimately turn it into steampunk. Because what does steampunk do? It gives you all of that, plus it adds the history, the meaning, and the authenticity. So I'm now working with schools, museums, and even organizations like TEDx, where I'm developing steampunk art and design programs to help kids in their collaboration skills, become better creative problem solvers, and also inspire them to choose careers in the sciences. Okay, I'm a couple minutes over, but I think I can creatively problem solve to fix that, because you know what I have? I've got a time machine right here. I want to show to you, demonstrate how the opposites of human and machine come together. So I would like to introduce you to my HuMachine. H.G. Wells as the human time machine. And Mr. Wells is traveling forward into time, repurposed to help us build our creativity and our resilience as the human time machine. Please welcome him.